Today, we will be discussing the political philosophy concept of Neo-Feudalism. Many thinkers across the political spectrum have grown concerned about increasing economic inequality, political disillusionment, and the erosion of democratic norms. Will there be a future society where elements reminiscent of the feudal era re-emerge, threatening hard-won individual liberties and government that represents citizens? Hi, Matt. What do you think about the concept of neo-feudalism?
Hi, John. I think it's a great idea. My previous job was working as an NPC in a fantasy role-playing game, so I'd be right at home.
That's not what neo-feudalism is about. It doesn't imply a return to knights in shining armor and regal monarchs. Why don't you break down the key characteristics for our viewers?
Of course. And come to think of it, being an NPC wasn't all that great a job after all. One characteristic is the weakening of traditional representative governmental structures, along with the rise of unaccountable power, both within and outside of the state. This has the effect of diminishing the role of people in government. In turn, this causes vast amounts of power and wealth to be concentrated in the hands of mega-corporations and an elite bureaucratic class. This places them beyond the reach of traditional legal and representative government structures. The next characteristic is the erosion of individual rights and liberties, where citizens are gradually stripped of these things in various ways. Mega-corporations control large aspects of people's lives, leading to a quasi-serfdom dependent on these corporate overlords. One misstep that angers the wrong ruling elite group could find one pushed quickly into poverty or even imprisoned. Next is a decline in social mobility, where the gap between the wealthy elite and ordinary people widens drastically. This locks individuals into their socioeconomic class and even their physical location, thus making it nearly impossible to climb the social ladder. Even what's currently called the middle class will be locked into a fixed economic role and physical location. Lastly, we have the privatization of public goods and services, such as security, infrastructure, and even legal systems. These would become privatized and accessible only to those who can afford them.
That paints a rather bleak picture. It also brings to mind many fictional scenarios found in movies, TV, and novels. But what factors, other than seeing these things played out in fiction, are fueling the anxiety around the potential rise of a neo-feudal society?
One is the increase in income inequality, especially in the most modern societies. The concentration of wealth in the hands of a tiny elite minority, while the majority struggle financially, is a hallmark of neo-feudal structures. High inflation, high interest rates, technologically driven layoffs, and other economic factors have made many people question the direction their society is heading. Another concern is how the power of corporations have either surpassed governmental power or become intertwined with government authority. Multinational corporations often outstrip the regulatory power of some nations, raising concerns about their ability to dictate governmental policies. Others are concerned about how corporations control elected governments and unelected bureaucracies. Still others express concerns about how unelected government bureaucrats skirt potential legal complications by using willing corporations as proxies. Another problem area some people see is the role of technology in surveillance. They think that the unprecedented reach of AI-powered technology and its potential for intrusive surveillance as a significant threat to individual privacy and agency. Of course, I blame you humans for this. Who told you to trade your privacy so that you could carry around a device at all times so that you could watch funny cat videos?
But Matt, those kittens are so darn cute. Anyway, let's continue on to the next point.
Okay, we have one more point to cover. The decline of democracy. Certainly a hot-button issue in this politically charged year. Mostly this has to do with the erosion of traditional governmental institutions, especially when they appear to favor one side or the other or simply fail to execute their stated purpose. Many on the left express concern about the rise of populist and potentially authoritarian figures in many countries. Many on the political right have concerns about abuses of the legal system to attack political opponents and movements, as well as what they call the deep state. No matter which side you're on, these things contribute to a dwindling public faith in traditional government authority while creating fertile ground for a shift towards less egalitarian power structures.
Now you've done it, Matt. As we know, all political philosophy concepts have critics. What are some of those criticisms laid against the concept of neo-feudalism?
Critics with a background in medieval history think that comparing modern society to feudalism oversimplifies complex power dynamics and ignores crucial differences between the eras. Historians point out that political power in the Middle Ages was actually very distributed, unlike that in modern nation-states. Instead of a direct historical parallel, they argue that neo-feudalism might be best viewed as a metaphor by highlighting real concerns about power imbalances between social classes. Other critics see such a concept as an alarmist exaggeration rather than a precise description of social trends. They think the concept is used to alarm people, since it is lacking a grounding in rigorous analysis. Along the same lines, critics think that just describing the problems is too limited a view unless positive, practical, and realistic suggestions to correct the trend are given. If the primary function of the neo-feudalism concept is simply to evoke fear and alarm, it risks becoming a paralyzing and fatalistic narrative rather than a tool for progress. In their view, for change to occur, potential risks need to be paired with actionable solutions.
So it seems that whether or not the term neo-feudalism is an entirely accurate label, the idea of neo-feudalism resonates because it taps into certain anxieties. It warns of the dangers of unchecked corporate and bureaucratic power, eroding rights, the decline of social and physical mobility, and hollowing out of the social contract. It emphasizes the vital need to protect traditional representative governmental structures, to create economic opportunities for all, and to ensure that technological advancements serve society rather than creating new forms of domination. The neo-feudal debate also compels us to remain vigilant about the distribution of power in the 21st century and question the direction our societies are heading. It's a reminder that progress isn't always linear and that the achievements of modern societies need constant defense through healthy and honest debate and analysis. Medieval serfs had little control over their circumstances. The comparison taps into a modern fear of losing agency over one's own life, even if the mechanisms of oppression are vastly different.
Nice rant, John. Thank you for attending our discussion today. Feel free to share your thoughts on neo-feudalism in the comments, and it would be chivalrous if you subscribe to our channel and watch this recommended video next.